When you talk to people and they talk about the economy, why do nobody talk about the COVID year, right? Like, I mean, you guys are barbers, and for you guys, I don't think the economy was ever worse for y'all than 2020 because you couldn't work, you couldn't collect revenue, and if I remember correctly, a lot of barbers weren't eligible for stimulus money because you didn't collect that typical, paycheck. You was more of a 1099 employee or something like that. So when people say the economy was worse then, was worse now than it was then, why is it that people just bypass 2020? Because for real, 2020 is the worst economy we ever seen in our lifetime.
The biggest things that stand out to me, and we clearly understand, like, we do have a voice and we don't utilize it. Some of these things, these atrocities is going to continue to happen within our community.
I kind of understand that, like, government has failed us, but I think some of the misinformation, like what you just said, is resonating.
I'm not, on the record, I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. The state I agree with both parties and the state I disagree with both parties. But the Republican Party has become Trump. There's no other option. And how many times has this man been convicted of a crime, or did the crime, multiple crimes, and still able to run for the biggest office in the United States?
Some of the young people that's here, what do y'all think of what y'all hearing? Some of y'all can vote, some of y'all can't vote. Do your parents plan on voting? If you can't vote yourself, what are y'all hearing in y'all circles and y'all spaces around this November election?
Like when I be in the barbershop, when they be talking about it, they be saying, a lot of people be saying they voting for Trump to see the stimulus money and all that. They think they're going to do that again.
How many people really believe Trump gave a stimulus money? People not raising their hand, but a lot of people clearly believe Trump gave a stimulus money. I want to just kind of equip y'all with something to kind of push back on that. Trump did not give us stimulus money. That's not what happened. What happened was the House and the Senate came together, which is the legislative branch of government. They seen people like barbers and everyday folks like us suffering, and they made it so that the country had to get stimulus money. Trump said no. He was not for stimulus money. Once he didn't have a choice, because he was overwritten by the legislative branch of government, what he said was, if we are going to give stimulus checks, y'all have to put my name on a check. And I think that's why a lot of people believe Trump gave stimulus money is because he literally put his name on a check. Now, the reality is that not only is that the first time that ever happened in the history of the country where a sitting president put his name on a check, a lot of people also don't remember that the check was delayed, right? We were supposed to get it on a certain date, but it got pushed back like 2 weeks because he would not let the checks be released until he put his name on the check. When the pandemic hit, right? Just like businesses needed bailouts and people needed bailouts, cities did too. So I'm a council person for the first time in 2020, and 3 months into being in city council, I'm sitting at home just like everybody else, and the pandemic starts. 3 months later, we're still sitting at home, and now we're starting to panic because just like that barber or that pizza shop or anybody else, government was running out of money. We went to the federal government and we asked for relief money from the Trump administration. They told us no. So once federal government tells local government no, well, what are we going to do? We're going to raise your taxes. So that same small business right there that you're talking about, when federal government doesn't give us money as a city, well, we got to go get the money somewhere. Our budget is $6.3 billion, right? A small percentage of that city budget comes from the federal government. So for me as a city council member, I kind of need a Democratic president because the last thing I'm trying to do is come to y'all and raise your taxes. Because if I raise your real estate taxes or any of your taxes, now what you going to do? You're going to vote me out. You're not going to say, well, Trump didn't give y'all money and we didn't have an opportunity or this, that, and the third. Now y'all going to hold us accountable because, nobody likes increases in taxes. Nobody want to pay more money. What made y'all go that way? Like, what is it that is in y'all everyday livelihood that's like, okay, we got to be over here instead of over here because this is how it will impact our life?
Well, she definitely put schools, definitely put more funds in schools. So we definitely have to stay forward with that. We definitely don't want to deal with anybody who is not for the public school system because a lot of us was raised through the public school system. So we gotta keep that going.
A question I really have is like, have y'all ever experienced anything where y'all feel like
the leading change that y'all think the presidential candidate gonna address?
Like extra activities for students to do after school and stuff. And I think if they get more of that, it'll stop like the violence will be down. Like a lot of people don't be having nothing to do after school, so they just whatever. So I think if there's more stuff like some more fun things for the kids to do after school, they'll make it right.
Unfortunately, government is often not about people, it's about power. And people want to stay in power. That's not the right way, but that's often the way it is. The reality is we should be the truth is, we should be putting the money in the place that need it the most, right? It shouldn't be that you go over here and you go over here. It should be your rec center just got fixed up 5 years ago. Your rec center hasn't been touched in 20 years. You need it more. But unfortunately, that's not the way politics has been moving. So it's even more important that people come out and vote on a local level, because when your local elected official isn't doing what you need to do, vote them out. Vote them out. And once they see, even if you come close to voting them out, they're going to look at the numbers and they're going to say, oh man, the people in this area where I ain't give them no rec center, they almost took me out. I better go give these people something. I better fix their sidewalks. I better give them some new street lights. I better, cut down some weeds. I better go do something so these people can feel like their government is working for them too. And I think that's the real thing. And I love for us to focus on local politics because it's much more tangible, right? You can see it, touch it, and feel it. If I say, well, look, the Biden campaign gave us a child tax credit for all the old heads in here. Most of us don't even know that we got that child tax credit. We just think our accountant did a great job, right? It's not like a real tangible thing that we could touch. But when I walk outside, right, and I see that the trash is no longer in front of my house or my rec center, or my pothole has been filled in my street and I don't got to ride over that thing no more, that's the tangible change that I think you're talking about, that local government brings that the federal government doesn't.
Me personally, I feel like a woman could have led this country years ago, but I feel like nowadays in the cancel culture that we live in, it's become taboo to like speak or give your true honest opinion about what you feel. So I feel like what we see now is like we have a bunch of things dressed up as whatever you want to, I guess, call it, to dissuade you from voting for Kamala. But I really feel like as a whole, like you won't hear people come out and blatantly say a woman is not ready to lead this country, but I think underneath all the issues that have been presented, that's the crux of it.